Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. Today is episode number 240, and I'm going back into the past when I was living in Belize. I found this episode that I did that's all about over-desire. And I I haven't talked about it in a while, and I'm introducing it again in my new group, and I've just talked about it again on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I've got all kinds of things I'm talking about on there, especially with Thanksgiving coming in. So, go to Dr. Deb Butler, and you can get on my YouTube channel too. But this podcast is all about over-desire. You gotta hear it. Stay tuned. Hello, all my dear friends all over the world. Today, I am not in Belize looking out at the beautiful Caribbean Sea. Today, I am back in St. Louis, Missouri, looking out at beautiful, beautiful fall. It's still fall here. I'm so excited. I wasn't sure if I came back, if the trees would still be, vibrant and beautiful, but they are. And I live in the middle of a forest, and there's trees everywhere. So I am so grateful to be able to experience fall in two very, very different climates. But you know what I noticed, and I don't know how many of you are listening to me live in tropical climates, because I never have. But you know what? Even though the temperature in Belize is basically the same all year round, it feels very, very different in different seasons. So as fall was coming in, it was very humid and hot, like it always is. It's always hot. But I could feel the cool breezes coming in that felt very, very different from summer. And it's something that you have to experience and really feel it, be conscious of it, to see the subtle differences. But it's not like things look that different, even though I have a feeling they do. I haven't quite noticed the difference in how things look, but I certainly notice a difference in the way things feel. And the other very, very unique thing about fall in the tropics is that I live in the Midwest, where the birds all leave. Well, not all the birds, but the birds that migrate all leave come fall, right? Well, guess what happens in Belize? Lots of birds come to the warm weather. So it's getting a lot noisier. I didn't realize it was really quiet during the summer. And now it's getting really noisy and all different kinds of bird sounds. And I'm telling you, this whole living in different parts of the world has been so eye-opening for me in so many different ways. More than anything, what I realize is change of season is a change of season. And probably no matter where you live in the world, when the seasons change, something is different. And one of the things that I know about from being a physician for so long is that whenever there's a change of season, the body also has to sort of change its own armor to protect itself against the different seasons, no matter what it is. There's different bugs, different birds, different whatever. The body has to react in a different way in order to protect you. So it's also when the body is most vulnerable to getting sick. So just as a little side note, playing doctor for a minute, anytime there's a change of season is always the best time to take extra good care of yourself, because it's when your body is most vulnerable to getting sick. As it's changing its armor for the new season, it becomes more vulnerable to the sickness that's around it. So really, as we're into fall, really take good care of yourself. And how do you take good care of yourself? The three basics. Get enough sleep. We talk about food all the time. Make sure that you're fueling yourself with the most excellent food possible, because that is the best way to be able to raise your immune system, right? Drink a lot of good fresh water, get a lot of sleep. Watch your mind, watch your thinking, what it's creating, how much stress you're feeling in your body, all results in an immune system that is either high and can resist what's around it or low and gets sick with everything. Change of season, it's fall, start taking care of yourself. Okay, so I want to talk about what is desire, what is over desire, and how either of those create the reason why you eat. So my theory is over desire creates overeating. If you're overeating, it's because you have more than enough desire for whatever it is that you want to eat. And there are reasons, I believe, why we have over desire. Now, desire is a feeling, right? And a feeling is always created from what? You guys know this. If you've been listening to me for all of these episodes, you know that a feeling is always created by a thought, right? So desire is created by something that you're thinking. Now, I want to give you this to think about, because that's what we're talking about, thinking. The reason that you feel desire or over desire is actually caused by 3 different things that I want you to think about, and then I'm going to talk about each one. So the first reason I believe for over desire is that your neurotransmitters are programmed to desire anything that gives it a subtle, let alone a huge dopamine response. Dopamine is something that is released, and when it's released, it's very, very pleasurable and feels very, very good, and it is a huge reward to your body and sensations. The second reason for over desire, I believe, is that we are marketed to by food experts all day, every day. I want you to really think about this, that the advertising, the way that you walk into a grocery store is all set up to manipulate you to buy certain things, no matter what you actually believe is best for you. So if you are not really, really, really watching your own mind and your own thinking, you will actually unconsciously start falling into patterns that advertisers and marketers want you to fall into. And let me tell you what, they're very good at this. Very good at this. So it's important. And you know, how I want you to think about this is you need to be prepared ahead of time. How do you work when you know that you're being particularly marketed to want to buy something that normally you wouldn't want to buy, or to eat something that you might not really want to eat, but you know it tastes good? Or you see a picture of it somewhere running past you while you're driving, and your brain has a little dopamine effect immediately. As soon as it sees it, it releases a little bit of pleasure. Think about that. The third reason for over desire, and this is probably the most important one that we talk about, is that if you don't know how to manage your own emotions, you will desire food as an escape. Did a lot of episodes about that. But these are the 3 things that I think create desire and over desire in you, creates the feeling. Now, what I want to talk about today to you, food for thought, is about marketing and about food scientists. Because here's the thing. There's a man that wrote a book called Salt, Sugar, and Fat. His name is Michael Moss. He wrote a very, very convincing book about why we eat the foods that we eat. Now, I know that most of the people that come and talk to me, and this is a little bit different from what I've been talking to you about, because I realize that a lot of things that happen in our minds are unconscious thoughts, right? That I'm always teaching you to be more conscious of. But here, I'm teaching you that some of your unconscious thoughts are being created outside of you and you don't even know it. Now, I know when I'm talking to you, you go, oh yeah, I know that. Right. We all know that, but no matter how much we know it, it's still coming into our brains on a regular basis. So if you've created a lot of thoughts, unconscious thoughts about why you eat, right? You eat because it feels good. You eat because you don't want to feel an emotion. You eat because you don't think you can stop. You have all of these thoughts. You eat because it's lunchtime. You eat because you haven't eaten in a while. All the thoughts that come. You have this overall thing running in our culture called advertising and marketing, and people who are creating foods on a regular basis for one reason only. And that reason is for you to eat it. They don't care if it's good for you. They don't care about any of that. What they care about is that they are being hired by a food company. These are food scientists. They're being hired by a food company to figure out a way for you to eat their food and want to buy it again and again and again. These food scientists are not creating apples and oranges. Interesting, right? There's nothing behind that. That's nature, and it's the way food was intended. No. What these food scientists, very, very smart people, are hired to do are to do experiments on combining chemicals and food together to figure out how the brain will react to it. Seriously, how the brain will react. And what they like to do is they like to be able, and this is all in the book, Salt, Sugar, and Fat. What they like to see is that when they test these foods, they like to test the brain and see what part of the brain lights up. The most interesting thing about all of this is that they have a term in the industry that's called a bliss point. A bliss point. Just think of the term bliss. Heaven, right? Okay. Well, it's a bliss point in the brain, which means that when that part of the brain lights up, whatever the food that's being tested has the highest ability for somebody to feel like they can't stop eating it. Oh my gosh. So think about this. We know it's not apples and oranges, right? It's foods that are processed and made by human beings. And those human beings are very, very smart and have been trained for a long time to create foods that create bliss points in your brain, which basically means creates over desire. The mind just goes crazy. The dopamine that is released from these foods, from these bliss points, is unbelievable. And so what happens is that you want to keep eating it. You have an over desire created by a food that you ate that was made specifically for you to feel like you can't stop eating it. Proven, done. Look at it in this book and the experiments that they've done, and you are going to be amazed. Now, this is what I want to share with you. First of all, I want to tell you what has the highest bliss point, if you don't know what it is, because it made me laugh. Okay, I thought maybe it would be potato chips, a specific potato chip. But guess what it is? It's cheese puffs. And I do like cheese puffs. Okay, but they're not Cheetos, they're cheese puffs. And the reason given, number one, the reason the bliss point is so high is because cheese puffs are made with a lot of air, the way they were invented. They have a lot of air in them. So even when the brain lights up a lot, bliss, 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 dopamine release, dopamine release, dopamine release, the stomach isn't actually ingesting a lot of bulk food because there's so much air in the cheese puffs. So these people think that they have created a perfect food to market. What does that mean for you and me? And this is just one food, but I'm just saying the highest bliss point. What does that mean for us as consumers? This is what I want to offer you. I want to offer you the ability to speak back, talk back, and make decisions for yourself. based on the idea that many of these foods and many of the foods that I talk to you about that are joy eats, right? To enjoy every bite, you have to know that as you're enjoying every bite and it is a processed food, you have somebody on the other end that's wanting to make sure that you never stop enjoying it. So you have to have the consciousness, the amazing consciousness, more awareness than you can ever imagine when you're around this type of advertising and when you're around this type of science around how food is created. So if, number one, you see advertisements, hear advertisements, hearing something on TV, don't just let it run. Make sure, because if your brain's listening to it and you're not paying attention to it, your brain's still soaking it up. But if you're actually paying attention to it, you actually can go, that's not true. That's not true. That wouldn't do my body any good. You actually talk back to it in your own mind and negate it. And that changes everything, right? So you can use your own consciousness against advertising for the things that don't work for you. Most of the things that you're going to see, and 80% of the advertisements that you're going to see on TV is going to be about food, right? And it's going to be usually about food that is not going to fuel you at all. So this is what I want to offer you as I talk about over desire, is that for today, the way that I'm talking about over desire is the way that it's created by marketing and food scientists. Just for today, that's all I'm talking about. And I want you to know that your feelings of lack of control around food sometimes is created by a food scientist. And I know it's different than the way I've been talking to you over these last 80 episodes, but here is what I want to offer you. Knowing that you have two choices. One, never to eat it again, which is definitely an option because then you don't have to deal with it at all. Or two, if you consciously choose to eat it, you have got to know up front that that food is going to do something to your brain that is going to make you feel like you're out of control. And when that feeling comes like, oh, I don't want to stop. Oh, this is so good. All of that stuff. Your brain comes to the rescue and say, yeah, I knew you were coming. And you know what? I know it's overwhelming, but I'm stopping anyway because it's not me. It's the food. That is what I want to offer you this week, that there is a lot going on outside of you that if you're not totally aware, can bust your own brain. And if you are totally aware, then you have the choice to say, I'm not listening, or I don't believe you, or no, that doesn't work for me, or no, I will never buy that again. Whatever it is, and know that if you are watching some kind of a food commercial, have you ever noticed that you watch something and your mouth starts watering? That's your brain creating desire. It is not your physical body creating physical hunger, right? Because physical hunger comes from your body, from your stomach, and sends a message to your brain that it's time to eat. But emotional hunger is when your mind has a message or a thought and it goes down into your body and creates a hunger called emotional hunger. You're watching a commercial, you look at it, you start salivating over desire. And in that moment, you can interrupt it and go, that's not for me. They're just doing it. They're making my brain do this. I don't buy it. And you turn it off. This is what I want you to do. It's kind of like mind over matter. It's all what I've been talking about every single time I talk to you. Okay, so for this week, over desire, commercials, food, what food scientists are doing, just say no. Just say it's crazy and be very, very conscious about it. And as always, you know what I want you to do, don't you? As you're watching all of this week, I want you to have so much compassion for yourself that this is what's going on around you and that it's been very hard for you. But now, because you're more aware and more conscious than ever, you have got your own back. Be very, very kind to yourself this week, guys. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast with my wife, Dr. Deborah. I've enjoyed working with her and living with her. That's right, we work and live together for 40 years, more than 40 years. It's amazing how time flies. And it's been like a little tree growing in the yard, and now it's a big tree, our love. So I would like to invite you to correspond with Dr. Deborah. Go to iTunes, drdebutler.com/iTunes, and you can review the show, and you can even give some helpful suggestions on what you would like to talk about in the future to accomplish your mindfulness and your journey into mindfulness. Thank you.